playing online blackjack and want to try upping your odds? Well, here's a tip. Cheat cards tell you statistics for whether you hit or stand on every move. If you're into stats, this could be your ticket to winning. And it is totally legal. Now, go get lucky. See you in Lost Pages. Let's get lucky.
If you believe he should be in the Hall of Fame, there's, let's let him wait another 2 years. Wait, he's already dead at this point. Like, what are you waiting for? Another 2 to 3 years. He's either in or he's out. And sometimes you look at that too, Thomas, like you can't tell, the history of Major League Baseball without Pete Rose.
Frankly, the writers have some standard that they want to hold players to, which seems to fluctuate on a player-to-player basis. So he should be in the Hall of Fame, but I'm not sure how quickly he'll get there.
Pro Baseball Today, only on SportsGrid.
I'm not saying this thing is scripted, but damn it, they put those two teams on the first weekend of the basketball season for a reason, because they were expecting some kind of fireworks. They got it. Did Angel Reese overreact? Probably. Did Caitlin Clark have to stare it down? Probably not. There's enough blame to go both sides. But guess who doesn't care? That's the WNBA.
Betting above the rim. Only on SportsGrid. The game is on. The stakes are high. But the action isn't just on the field.
He's rearranging that rim. Get it inside!
SportsGrid's in-game live. Your ultimate second screen experience.
A little flyer, couple of thoughts.
18.5 points live line.
Every prop, every play, every day.
Anything can happen. It's complete chaos.
It's smarter to be on
Game time decisions live right here on SportsGrid on this Tuesday night. Kevin Walsh with you for the next 90 minutes as we look to set it up here with the Major League Baseball board already calling our name. Guardians-Dodgers, Nerfy, if you played it, comes in. We've got games that are going to be starting in just a couple of moments. I'm involved with the next one up, which is Baltimore and St. Louis, playing the O's on the money line, plus 105. For me, I understand all of Baltimore's struggles, but Sagano's been the best pitcher on this Baltimore staff throughout the season, I think you could say. Palante's not that great. I think the St. Louis number's too strong. We start with a plus 105 on Baltimore. You know what? Let's throw it to you nice here. Let's get everybody's action on the table. It's a Dinger Tuesday. Dinger Tuesday bets for myself and the crew. Of course, Koski, Sam, and AJ. We all together do game time discussions. And we've also been giving you the Tuesday tanks here. You missed out on a Moonshot Monday. Copyright infringement out in the streets. I saw it. Don't think I didn't. But we've got Juan Soto for the Mets from Casino Chris. Salvi Perez for Yarnell. I think Salvi might have hit one yesterday against the Reds. Reds got the job done, though. Spencer Horowitz, 9-1. That's great. Big dog, the Pensionator. Whoa. Leave that ass out of here, man. I don't want to see it. That's a two-step Spence dog. That's a winner. No. That's a winner, man. I like it. Man. You got to pull back on a couple of other jokes that could apply. Past the Pence or Horowitz. You'd love to see it. Give me PCA plus 475. I love this Cubs game. This game was made for me. Made for me to win money or lose money. We'll find out, but it was made for me. Cubs-Rockies over 7.5. Stop the madness. Wind at Wrigley. It never scares me. It only causes me to get to the window. It's consistent. I love this over 7.5. Cade Horton could get knocked around by the Rockies. Herman Marquez will get knocked around by the Cubs. If the wind was not blowing in, I think this total is 10. If the wind was blowing out, I think it's 12.5. 7.5's wild. Best bet, Cubs-Rockies over. Where's the crew going to go? How about this? Casino Chris On the hardwood, never saw it coming. Over the 13.5 bounds plus dimes, Josh Hart, plus 108. That's a sizzle. You've not seen Casino Chris step onto the hardwood. If he does, it makes noise. Get Josh Hart on your card. Hunter Brown over the 6.5 Ks. Hunter Brown, early Cy Young case. If it was not for his most recent outing, which he slipped up against Tampa, really strong argument for Hunter Brown to be the leader in the clubhouse for the Cy Young. Separate take. Quickly, if the season did end today, it doesn't. If it did, no argument for Tariq Skubal to win Cy Young. I thought that was interesting. AJ goes with the Royals money line here, which, by the way, if the season ended today, strong argument for Chris Bubich for Cy Young. I don't know how the Royals keep doing this. This is 2 years in a row. They have a legit Cy Young candidate, and neither time has it been Cole Reagans. And I like Cole Reagans this year. I think he's been really good. I know he's a little banged up. Let me add another thing about the Kansas City Royals. I'm hot on these Royals. We're starting baseball here. Jack Caglione. Get yourself up to the bigs, kid. I'm looking to sneak in a little AL Rookie of the Year ticket. I don't care about this Jacob Wilson hot start. You know me. I don't really like a prospect. Usually, if I'm the Royals, I'm trading Cags. I'd send him somewhere else. Get me a mid-level reliever. Probably win the trade. Not this go-round. This kid's got something. He's got more than something. I think he just hit a home run again. What, are they playing in Omaha? Wherever that minor league team is? Doesn't matter. Ball's flying out. I'd like to total one of those games. Gags has been special. I like the AL Central this year. We talked about it on Game Time discussions. That division's got juice. It really does. Which brings me to Tigers-Giants. The Tigers are home dogs to the San Francisco Giants. When you look at this number, Logan Webb versus Jack Flaherty, does it signal Giants/Logan Webb respect, or are the books still not fully buying in on Detroit? I think it's an interesting one. I played this game on an alt under the 11 with an each team to score 2 in Dodgers Guardians, as well as an alt under 11 Astros and A's. That's a take me home on a Tuesday. That's a take me home on a Tuesday. We did it last Tuesday. Nothing to worry about. Nothing to worry about. That game's in game right now. You know it. It works just fine. Hit the Pencer Horowitz graphic. I can't wait for that guy to go deep. That's your take me home on a Tuesday. That's Pencer Horowitz. This guy's a legend already on Game Time decisions. I hope we speak to him out at the Super Bowl. I'm sure he'll be running around. What else is Pence doing? I just thought it was noteworthy that the Giants are road favorites against Jack Flaherty, who's supposed to be the number 2 for the Detroit Tigers. If this team wants to make a real World Series run, they may need to add, or they're going to have Flaherty figure it out. Logan Webb is awesome. Giants are good. I like this team. But that's a 500 road club favored against a Tigers team that's 19-8 at Comerica. I thought it was noteworthy. Here was another noteworthy line. Spencer Strider at dog. You got me to the window. I'm on the Braves, minus 106. Strider, first start, came out, okay. Second start, not great. Big gap in between. I think you get a good Spencer Strider today, and I'm getting a dog price with Acuna and Strider. Those are rare. I get it's the Phillies. Rangers Suarez. It's been every other start. The home starts haven't been good. I like my price here. Give me Atlanta. Give me Spencer Strider. I'm on that money line. I've also played a couple of dog money lines today. I thought they were worth a shot. Basically, as long as the Yanks-Mets parlays don't come in, we're in a good spot. White Sox plus 230, Angels plus 180. Hold on. Most unbiased man in the history of sports media. Most unbiased man in the history of sports media. The chants, guys, we're trying to do a show. Most unbiased man in the history of sports media. I mean, they're valid. You can't get mad at those chants. Angels plus 180, White Sox plus 230. Tyler Anderson in line for a good start here at home. That's what I expect. And White Sox better pitcher on the mound? White Sox sneaky, decent starting rotation? I mean, 17 and 37 is not great. There's a lot of Tyler McGill love in the back, it turns out. I'll fade it. You know what? Call me Captain Insano. I'll fade it. By the way, Rangers money line. I love this Rangers money line. So, again, I talk about that top 5 Cy Young right now. It's a clear-cut top 6. Skubal, Bubic, Max Fried, Garrett Crochet, Hunter Brown. Nasty Nathan Eovaldi's got himself a case. At home, off a loss to this Toronto team in the opening game of this series. Nathan Eovaldi, they've lost 2 straight starts for him. We had a Francis Bowden win last time he took them out. Come on now. That's exactly what I said. Listen, where's Spencer Horwitz when you need him? And also, I mean, Corey Seager's on his way back. He's not in the lineup tonight, but that's just momentum. Love that Rangers money line. That should be a stronger number. We're involved. So baseball money lines, Tank Tuesday. We really made it happen for you, and we're only 1 segment in. Game time decisions. We're rocking and rolling.
Enter into the magical world of McLuck.com, where even the smallest of spins can win real cash prizes. Adventure into over 1,000 of the best Vegas-style slot games. So what are you waiting for? Unlock your free welcome offer today. Join the fun where winners play and players win.
2 guys that can do it all.
Too much electricity this morning.
This is a good time. We're having a lot of fun.
I had to do a triple take.
Ka-ching!
Why? Because of parity.
I didn't mean to offend.
Yeah, it's not going to happen.
Load management is a dirty word.
Let him rip.
You know what? Circumstances provide the results.
What? How do you do this once?
Oh, Donnie, you got such a good show there.
A network that is booming.
The early line, only on SportsGrid.
We're going to go through every single thing, and I've got a great team behind me that's going to help me get the job done. I want this to be the place that people come to. There is going to be an energy to game time decisions that you will feel night in and night out. We are going to hit every single one of those markets that you need to know about. We will have everything at our disposal, and we will use that to our advantage. There is not going to be a better place, I promise you, than Game Time Decisions. I'm Kevin Walsh. Tune in to Game Time Decisions weekdays on SportsGrid.
The game is on. The stakes are high. But the action isn't just on the field.
He's rearranging that roof. Get it inside!
SportsGrid's in-game live. Your ultimate second screen experience.
Just a little flyer, couple of
15.5 point live line.
Every prop, every play, every day.
Anything can happen. That's complete chaos.
It's smarter to be on SportsGrid.
Did you know sportsbooks tend to draw up tighter bet lines for events that get even more bettors, like championship games or major matchups? My tip? Try betting on less popular sports. You might have a better shot at beating those odds. Now, go get lucky. See you in Las Vegas. Let's get lucky.
Back at the right here, we are on SportsGrid. Tonight's main event, undoubtedly, Eastern Conference Finals. Huge Game 4. In Indiana, Pacers take the first 2 on the road. Knicks keep the road teams 3-0 in the series with a 20-point comeback to avoid a 3-0 deficit. But now they got to win again, and Pacer money is coming in. And I like the Pacers in this spot quite a bit. Now, listen, you try and have a short memory in the way you want a pitch or two after they give up a home run, but I'm struggling with that. Thunder -3 last night. Thunder win the game by 2. Not a great time. not my favorite watch. I like the Pacers in this spot. I really do. And I think my preferred method to backing the Pacers, though, is on their team total. That number checks in at 111.5. If you look at the low performances from the Pacers this postseason scoring the basketball, and there's not many of them, but they have come into 3 losses. They scored 101 against Milwaukee. Next game, 129. 104 against Cleveland. Next game, 129. The only other game where they scored under 110 points or under the 111.5 that we've played over here was game number 3 against the Knicks. So, I mean, you want odds on exactly 129. It's 2-0 so far. It could be. I think it's a 120 game for the Pacers tonight. I think their offense will look clean here. I really do. The Pacers' offense, it is so flowing, and it is not reliant on one guy filling up the basket. It's reliant on movement that is created by Tyrese Halliburton, and that movement rarely ever wavers. This is a team that I think, off of a 5 for 25 shooting night from beyond the arc, really is in line to blast through the number. And it's why I think they'll win the game, because the Knicks now all of a sudden offensively are the vibes around it are bad. I feel as if in some ways, you know, and maybe it's just, I don't know, if you say I'm hating, but for the Knicks, the worst I felt about them was off of their first win of this series. They legitimately were saved by Jalen Brunson picking up a 5th foul and being forced to the bench. I understand Brunson was a part of closing the door, but Cat is the one who opened the door and put the Knicks back in front. And when Brunson checked back into the game, 0 self-awareness or 0 coaching, likely a combination of the two. It just went right back to Brunson ball. Dribble, dribble, dribble. Tough shot. Instead of actually passing the basketball. You know, it's incredible, but you've now played 3 games in this series, and at the end of 2 of the 3 games, it feels like the Knicks superstars have been looked at through a really ugly lens. Game 2 for Cat, Game 3 for Brunson. That is not a path towards winning a championship or making a finals. Where at the end of every single game, we're having a referendum on your best players and whether or not they can even play together. You talk to Knicks fans, you're like, gotta stagger Brunson, Cat. Okay. But usually when you hear about staggering, it's not in such a negative aspect. Like if you have 2 guys that are excellent on the ball, when Luka and LeBron, right, came together, you're like, look, stagger them because you'll get the most out of it. The staggering for the Knicks, Brunson Cat, is to avoid having a funnel of a defense that can do nothing well, and then actually transition from Brunson, do it all by yourself, to, oh, we now can pass and everybody gets to play. If the Knicks, if I'm wrong, and they're going to come back, and they're going to win tonight, and they're going to win this series, then everything will be fine, and they'll figure it out, and they'll improve on the margins, and that'll be that. But if this series ends the way these other Pacer series have, which is in 5 games, even 6, the Knicks are very likely going to have a tough offseason where they have to look around and they have to make some moves. And the move that everybody points to is trading Karl Anthony Towns. Be honest with yourself. For a moment, during Game 3, did that feel like the right move? Did it feel like you were getting rid of the right guy? I think it's a valid question. I think Brunson offensively will be better tonight, though, more consistent, coming off of a terrible 6 of 18 shooting game. The 23 points, obviously the fewest that he has scored in this series. Brunson in these playoffs has only failed to hit 20 twice. I think you'll see Brunson hit 20 tonight. That's not going out on a limb. What I am doing, though, is having that as a part of a parlay that really is just betting Tyrese Halliburton to get 10 assists. Halliburton 10 points, Brunson 20 points, Halliburton 10 assists. You slap a boost on it. It gets you to plus 165. It's the SGP that I'm going to play for this game. And again, what I'm really doing is banking on Tyrese getting 10 assists. Because, look, if I lose this because Brunson doesn't get 20 or Tyrese doesn't score 10, so be it. I don't anticipate that being the case. Halliburton's been great scoring the basketball in this series. Brunson's been great scoring the basketball in this series. Tyrese is coming off of a game where he had just 7 assists. First time in this series he did not have double-digit dimes. For Halliburton, I think with the bounce back that is anticipated here, we talk about those other bounce backs, right? The game against Cleveland, he only had 5, but that was, remember, the up 40 at half game. So he only played 26 minutes. The bounce back that they offensively had against Milwaukee, he had 15 assists. I think it's a great assist game for Halliburton. Brunson will score plenty, and I think you'll see the Pacers get over their team total. That number checking in again right now tonight at 111.5, a number that they've only now missed 3 times, and they've certainly not missed in consecutive outings. We're going to go over to the WNBA next. It is a loaded W slate where I have played a little SGP action, but also a total that looks way too light. One team on this slate should probably put up 100 spot. We'll talk about who. You can probably figure it out, and we'll break those games down. And also, what can you expect from Angel Reese as the Sky look to finally win their first game of the season, but they have to try and do so on the road against a good Phoenix Mercury team? That's next, right here on SportsGrid.
Did you know sportsbooks tend to draw up tighter bet lines for events that get even more bettors, like championship games or major matchups? My tip? Try betting on less popular sports. You might have a better shot at beating those odds. Now, go get lucky. See you in Las Vegas. Let's get lucky.
Chiefs Chargers in Brazil on Friday on YouTube. They're going to give everyone that game for free. They're so generous because the rest of the season they're going to fleece you for all your money.
That's one, Scott. That division to me, based on what's happened to the Chiefs the last couple seasons, that division, the AFC West, could be up for grabs here. I know Chiefs fans think I'm probably out of my mind.
Pharrell, Coast to Coast, only on SportsGrid.
I actually like the fact that they went 7 games against a quality opponent here and still had to face adversity even in a game number 7. How are we setting up this next series with a rested Minnesota Timberwolves team taking on OKC fresh from the fight here?
They had an extremely, maybe it's just too strong a statement to say, easier pathway than people thought, particularly because of their size.
The early line, only on SportsGrid. The game is on. The stakes are high, but the action isn't just on the field.
He's rearranging that roof. Get it inside!
SportsGrid's in-game live. Your ultimate second screen experience.
A little flyer, couple of thoughts.
15.5 points live line.
Every prop, every play, every day.
Anything can happen. It's complete chaos.
It's smarter to be on SportsGrid.
Back right here on SportsGrid. 5-game slate tonight in the WNBA does not include the Indiana Fever. And that is going to be really an interesting situation to watch if perhaps you did miss the news over the weekend. Caitlin Clark is going to be out the next 2 weeks for Indiana. Now, record-wise, it doesn't project to be dire. 2 weeks from today is the 10th of June. They're playing Atlanta. If she's back for that game, the 4 games she would miss, Washington, Connecticut, Washington, Chicago. Those are 3 of the 4 worst teams in the league. The Fever, again, who've started 2-2, don't need to go 4-0 in that stretch. You would expect no worse than 3-1 if Clark was around, but you better be 500 in that window. If they're not, it will be a boost for Clark's MVP argument. And she was the favorite, but with the injury and the incredible start for Nafisha Collier, a big move in that market. Collier was at minus 180 earlier, recently moved over to above minus 200. So that is one of those, the way Minnesota started this year, and they have a huge one tonight, by the way. Hosting Seattle, the Storm, monster victory against Vegas. 20-piece them in their building, put 102 on the Aces. Really, really impressive stuff. You guys know I really like the Storm entering the year. I think we'll find out a lot about both of these teams early season. Not that the Storm need to win, and not that a loss for the Lynx would suggest, anything's fraudulent. But do we get a competitive game? Can Minnesota make a statement at the extent of the Storm? Were the Storm too fired up to play Vegas, who eliminated them last year in the playoffs? I think that's easily the best game on the board tonight. Big 7.5 number. No surprise I would lean Storm. With that MVP race, though, this is another game for Collier, who's almost averaging 30 a game. You could see, if they win tonight and she scores 30, we could see that minus 300 number, because it's also been a slow start for Aja Wilson. The Aces don't play again until Friday, so you're going to have to wait a little bit until Aja kind of gets to throw her name back in that race. I mentioned a team scoring 100. The Liberty tonight, if they do, it won't be surprising. The team totals 90.5. I am going to play the over 162.5, though. In that Golden State, after losing their opening game, they've come out, they've won 2 in a row. They've played well offensively. And the Liberty are so good right now on the offensive side of the ball that the defensive intensity is kind of touch and go. You look at the game against Chicago, they gave up 74 points to the Sky. Now they locked into the second quarter, held the Sky to 9, basically ended that game in the first half, and then, foot off of the gas pedal the rest of the way. They were up by 21 at the break in that game, so it was just kind of, marginal dominance. The game, gets through the total. I think you get another similar situation here tonight. Huge number for the Liberty, though. One of the biggest you will see all season long. 17.5s are up to 18.5, by the way. So we'll see if they're able to seal the deal. You do have Dallas as a favorite, despite being 0-4 against the Sun. The Sun, I think, are being priced as the worst team in the league, and rightfully so. All of their good players outside of Marina Mabry were moved on from. They did bring in Tina Charles, but there's no efficiency from them on the offensive side of the ball. Defensively, there isn't much of any hope. Dallas has to get it tonight, but I'm not backing that game because the Wings aren't very good in their own right. We've got the Sparks and the Dream with a 2.5-point number for LA. Some injuries to watch on both sides. No Griner for the Dream. No Rakia Jackson for the Sparks. And then you do have the Sky and the Mercury late night. Phoenix, a decent favorite. I think Alyssa Thomas plays well in this one. 31.5 points, rebounds, and assists. I'm fascinated to see what we got out of Angel Reese. Angel Reese in her rookie season averaged just around 13.5 a game, 13.6, close to 14. You would hope year over year that would improve. The field goal percentage down 9 points, and the free throw percentage is down almost 20 points. And the thing is, Reese now, with the offseason work, has bought herself a little bit more liberty to shoot some threes. It's super early into the season, but she's 1 for 3. Again, I don't mind her taking that shot. But there's just a lot of other stuff she has to clean up. She is going to, at some point, she must pop off for a 20-point game. Is it tonight against Phoenix? I'm not sure about that. But it is something that I think to continue to track in this market. She should have another double-double in this game, though, without a doubt. Quick break. We're back with you. It is Game Time Decisions live on a Tuesday night on SportsGrid.
Did you know sportsbooks tend to draw up tighter bet lines for events that get even more bettors, like championship games or major matchups? My tip? Try betting on less popular sports. You might have a better shot at beating those odds. Now, go get lucky. See you in Las Vegas. Let's get lucky.
Chiefs Chargers in Brazil on Friday on YouTube. They're going to give everyone that game for free. They're so generous because the rest of the season they're going to fleece you for all your money.
That's one, Scott. That division to me, based on what's happened to the Chiefs the last couple seasons, that division, the AFC West, could be up for grabs here. I know Chiefs fans think I'm probably out of my mind.
Pharrell, coast to coast, only on SportsGrid.
I actually like the fact that they went 7 games against a quality opponent here and still had to face adversity even in a game number 7. How are we setting up this next series where they rested Minnesota Timberwolves team taking on OKC fresh from the fight here?
They had an extremely, maybe it's just too short of a statement to say, easier pathway than people thought, particularly because of their size.
The early line, only on SportsGrid. The game is on. The stakes are high, but the action isn't just on the field.
He's rearranging that roof. Get it inside!
SportsGrid's in-game live. Your ultimate second screen experience.
A little flyer, couple of
15.5-point live line.
Every prop, every play, every day.
Anything can happen. That's complete chaos.
It's smarter to be on SportsGrid.
Game Time Decisions live here on a Tuesday night. Kevin Walsh with you. We are 100 days away from the NFL season beginning, which I know everybody is going to be really excited about. We did a schedule special here on SportsGrid. Getting to talk to Adam Kaplan around that was really great. So we're going to share that with you in our next segment, just to talk a little football here on Tuesday, because I'm sure as we get closer, just about June, you're kind of, ramping up that excitement, and eventually you're going to be getting more and more NFL headlines there. So we'll do that in just a moment. Some Major League Baseball updates here. St. Louis is jumping all over Baltimore. Lars Nootbaar with a 2-run shot in the second. They've now scored in both innings. St. Louis, they are up 3-0. Dodgers have put 2 up on Cleveland, so that's 2-0 right now. Detroit grabbed the run off a Riley Green double, scoring Gleyber Torres in the first inning against Logan Webb. So you've actually started 3-0, because the Dodgers game was, so you have 2 Yerfies, 2 Nerfies, so you're a clean 500. The Braves-Phillies game did go scoreless. What was noteworthy, though, Spencer Strider hit Bryce Harper, and Bryce left the game. So that is definitely noteworthy. That is definitely a blow for the Phils. You now have Edmund Sosa in the lineup there. You lose one of your best bats. And it could matter a lot for the Phillies beyond. You never know. Something to keep your eyes on there. Just to let you know what the rest of the baseball card, okay? We're about to get underway. Tampa Bay, Minnesota. Did not bet this game. I did lean under in the game, but I did not play at 8.5. We'll see what Taj Bradley brings to the table. I know Casino Chris likes Jeffers on Minnesota in this one. I'm playing the White Sox money line. It's kind of an anti-New York two-step. I guess you can, despite being from New York, my card is very anti-New York here on this Tuesday. I think Cannon has an argument to be the better pitcher than Tyler McGill. I think the plus 230 number is worth it here. It's a decent little spot for the White Sox. I know it's one of the best home teams going up against one of the worst road teams. But the Mets, they win 2 straight against the Dodgers, take the first game of this series. I think Chicago could surprise them. And if not, I think it's very live that Tyler Anderson and the Angels could surprise the Yankees tonight. Yanks came off of a nice another series victory against the Rockies. They take the first game against the Halos. But Carlos Rodon has had a really strong season. It's not like the Yankees are flawless in his starts. There's losses under the belt there. Tyler Anderson is in line for a really good start at home as well. I think we could see, I think one of the New York baseball teams are upset tonight. I played 3 different moneyline dogs on the baseball card. The Orioles one is not off to any type of good start. It's off to a start nonetheless. Aaron Savali's got the ball for Milwaukee. That's a 740. Royals come up with Lynch as the opener going for their start against the Reds. Royals moneyline best bet from AJ. And just a reminder of where those best bets are. Royals moneyline, Josh Hart over the rebounds plus assists. And what, they get rid of them? Where'd these things go? We had, I can't remember Yarnell's. I remember mine. Oh, I'll tell you what, in the back. Hunter Brown over 6.5 Ks. I like the under in that game. Astros, A's. Sear should have a good start. Brown should have a great start. And then I'm on the over Cubs Rockies 7.5. I'm going against the weather. That's all. I think this total has been over adjusted too much for weather. It should be 8.5. Herman Marquez is terrible. And one of my favorite things that happens was when a Rockies pitcher home road splits are worse on the road. A 4.44 ERA at Coors Field and a 11 ERA on the road. And by the way, it's not that Herman Marquez gives up 600 home runs a start. You can hit a couple of doubles and score runs. Truly, if the Cubs scored all of the runs necessary to make this a winner, I wouldn't be that surprised. All right? Here's the tally on runs allowed in Herman Marquez starts. 6, 7, 8, 8, 7, 8, 9, 3, 12, 2. 7.5 because the wind's blowing in. Nonsense. I really like the over in that spot there. The other money line that I did play, if you're getting involved with the Major League Baseball card, that's going to be on Nathan Eovaldi. I did some AL Cy Young early season research right now. There's 6 starters in the mix. If you are open to a closer, Andres Munoz is making as good of a case as possible. He has 17 saves. He's not allowed to run. Pretty great. It's pretty fantastic. No other closer who has at least 10 saves, they've all allowed at least 4 runs. He's not allowed a single run at 17 saves. He doesn't have odds, though. Last year, who was the Clase, as the entire group yells at me. Look, Schoolwell deserved it. I don't know where Clase finished in the voting, but he had a good case. But again, Munoz, it's early. He's off to an unbelievable start. The starters that are in the mix, though, Tariq Skubal, Max Fried, Chris Bubich, Garrett Crochet, Hunter Brown, and Nathan Eovaldi. And Eovaldi tonight at minus 142 against Bowden Francis Bowden. Pick your poison. That's just a great number. They're coming off of a win the last Francis start. The Rangers have lost 2 consecutive Nathan Eovaldi starts. The Blue Jays took the first game of this series. Don't expect that to be replicated here as a bad road team against a solid enough Texas home team. I really like the Rangers money line. And again, play that at minus 142. And just to reconnect before we do throw it over to our NFL schedule talk with 100 days now on the countdown to when the NFL season begins. Pacers, Knicks, huge game. If the Pacers win it, they will have a minus 450, I would say, or so price to win the series. And I think they'll be incredibly live to end it in 5. They've already won the first 2 in New York. They won every single road game against the Cavs. They took one of the 2 road games that they played against the Bucks. The Pacers, record-wise, have been more dominant in these playoffs than the Thunder, which is wild to think about, but is true. So, can Indiana get the job done tonight? I think so. It's their offense I trust the most. If you look at the Pacers in this postseason, they've had 3 poor offensive performances. The game number 3 won against the Knicks was the third. The first 2, they scored 101 against Milwaukee. The next game, they scored 129. Then they scored 104 against Cleveland. The next game, 129. And that was with 80 first half points. They really did double up Cleveland, like more than double. 80 to 38 at the break. Against a team that I picked to win the title. Tough look. Tough look. Injuries, all the, stuff that I think factored in. You're down 80 to 38. Maybe I should have been giving the Pacers a little more credit for that victory. We're going to take a break here. Tampa is threatening against Minnesota early. Baltimore threatening. Detroit up 2-0. There's runs. Tigers. Little statement game against Logan Webb. Interesting. Not mad at it. NFL. 100 days away. 1-0-0. Adam Kaplan's thoughts on the NFL schedule released from our NFL schedule special on SportsGrid. You'll hear that next.
Enter into the magical world of McLuck.com, where even the smallest of spins can win real cash prizes. Adventure into over 1,000 of the best Vegas-style slot games. So what are you waiting for? Unlock your free welcome offer today. Join the fun where winners play and players win.
Guys.
Did you know sportsbooks tend to draw up tighter bet lines for events that get even more bettors, like championship games or major matchups? My tip, try betting on less popular sports. You might have a better shot at beating those odds. Now, go get lucky. See you in Las Vegas. Let's get lucky.
Chiefs Chargers in Brazil on Friday on YouTube. They're going to give everyone that game for free. They're so generous because the rest of the season they're going to fleece you for all your money.
That's one, Scott. That division to me, based on what's happened to the Chiefs the last couple seasons, that division, the AFC West, could be up for grabs here. I know Chiefs fans think I'm probably out of my mind.
Pharrell, coast to coast, only on SportsGrid.
I actually like the fact that they won 7 games against a quality opponent here and still had to face adversity even in a game number 7. How are we setting up this next series where they rested Minnesota Timberwolves team taking on OKC fresh from the fight here?
They had an extremely, maybe it's just too strong a statement to say, easier pathway than people thought, particularly because of their size.
The early line, only on SportsGrid. The game is on. The stakes are high, but the action isn't just on the field.
He's rearranging that roof. Get it inside!
SportsGrid's in-game live. Your ultimate second screen experience.
A little flyer, couple of
15.5-point live line.
Every prop, every play, every day.
Anything can happen. It's complete chaos.
It's smarter to be on SportsGrid.
The 2025-2026 NFL schedule is released, and to help us talk a little bit more about everything that went into making this schedule and some of the takeaways, it's NFL insider Adam Kaplan. Cap, always great to talk to you around anything that involves the NFL, but we have ourselves a schedule, which gives us a little bit more to dive into. Starting, though, kind of at the beginning of this, Saul, can you explain to people the process that goes into making this schedule for the league?
Yeah, so Kevin, look, they actually start, it's interesting, they really start in February and March. That's actually when they start really digging in, and they're done before the draft. And the thing is, they have to use computers, because they used to do it by hand decades ago, but it's all done by computer. with certain criteria. And Kevin, the interesting thing is they have to talk to every team in terms of things that they want blocked off, recommendations, things that the clubs like to have. They have to look at rest, which we could obviously talk about. And then the league takes over. What the league wants, Kevin, when you talk about matchups, they want the most eyes on every game. So that's why teams like the Chiefs are going to get 7 primetime games.
Yeah.
That's why the Cowboys, despite them being sort of mediocre, that's why they're getting a lot of primetime games. Your Eagles, of course, they won the Super Bowl, but they're what we call a national team. If you're a national team, that means a team that nationally that fans recognize and back and like, you're going to be on national TV now. And we'll talk about flex scheduling. You also could play yourself off of national television. If your team, like the Jets last year, Kevin, hey, Aaron Rodgers, everybody wants to see it. Well, Rodgers played, I'm told, with 2 injuries, and he didn't play well, and they were a bad team. Hence, they were taken off. They were flexed out, if you will, of some primetime game.
So I get, let's do that right away then. Because one thing that jumps out to me is the league is going with Pittsburgh in some prime spots. And I understand the Steelers are an institution in this league with Mike Tomlin and the winning and TJ Watt. It feels like the league is betting on Aaron Rodgers being their quarterback, though, week number 1. And if not, they may need to find ways to get out of week 10 Steelers at Chargers, if that's Mason Rudolph going for the 10th time, or Will Howard maybe going for Pittsburgh. Do you think I'm right to say the league is somewhat betting on Rodgers being Pittsburgh's quarterback?
Well, it's interesting. So on the national media call, which I was in last week, they actually addressed that. So, and this is where flex scheduling comes in. Let's say, well, it's one thing if Rodgers doesn't play. What if Rodgers plays for the Steelers and then he gets hurt? Well, and if they're bad, they have the ability to flex out games. Like for in week 10, right, at the Chargers, that's a primetime game. If they're 3-6, well, there's a very good chance they won't be playing that game in prime time, that they'll be flexed out. And the league talked about that. They're pretty clear. If you've got one elite team, just based on performance of the season, and the other team is not what they thought, they were a clunker, they're going to take them out because they want the best possible matchup. They get it. They're fans too. They get it. It's, by the way, it's quarterback versus quarterback. And sometimes, Kevin, it doesn't have to be 2 teams that are great. They could have 2 teams that are mediocre, but both quarterbacks are playing outstanding football. It's a quarterback-driven league. That stuff matters as well.
It's funny. I wonder how the league is going to approach flexing. I'm just going to, a little personal anecdote. Yeah. I had tickets for Eagles-Jaguars, which was supposed to be a Sunday night game. First time with the Kelly Greens. And the way Jacksonville was struggling, the league pivoted actually to Minnesota-Indianapolis. Look, in hindsight, a nightmare of a decision. They took the eventual Super Bowl champs off TV. Now, I know you can maybe butterfly affect it. That was the game that Saquon Barkley jumped backwards over a guy, the Nakobe Dean interception that clinched it. That Colts game ended up with Joe Flacco starting. It was a terrible football game, really. I wonder if the league now, Cap, at the end of the day, all these games still do well, but that was such a misfire. I wonder if they'll be in any capacity gun-shy around flexing this year.
No, it's a week-to-week basis, right? Although you have to make a decision in advance, a bunch of weeks in advance, then you change your schedule. But they made it pretty clear, and this brings up a case, okay? This brings up what you're talking about. Last year, the Washington Commanders, right? And then we talked about the Jets. You want to have the ability to flex in a team like the Commanders where they come out of nowhere. We could say all we want about how well I was one of them that liked Jaden Daniels, thought he'd be a pretty good quarterback. We had no idea how good the Commanders were going to be. So they want the ability to move that team into prime time.
Yeah.
And by the way, Washington could be a national team. They've got a good following. They've been so bad for decades, as you know, under former owner Daniel Snyder. And now they look like they potentially be elite going forward. So they want to find that team. And Kevin, every year there's a team nobody likes. Like, nobody sees it coming. Last year, Denver was the books, had them at 4.5 or 5 wins. Now they had an easy schedule, but that's what the league tries to identify. And by the way, they do their own projections. They try to get a feel for in the spring which teams are going to be those breakout teams. It's hard to do that, but they do the best that they can.
I do think the best thing that they can do is at least try and rely on those look-ahead win totals because I've always found, right, now you get the schedule to come out, people start doing strength of schedule, Cap. I'm a big believer. I don't want to go off of last year's records to judge. I want to go off projected records when we're trying to figure out strength of schedule for these teams. Now, there are some schedules that, no matter how you slice it, are incredibly difficult, and some early season, and what could that lead to? I want to ask you this quickly, Cap, before we hit the break. Sure. What did you make of Philly drawing Dallas for the Thursday night game?
Yeah, I was really hoping for the Eagles and Commanders. I thought that would have been obviously a rematch of the playoffs where the Eagles boat raced them. But look, the Cowboys are one of those teams. And Kevin, being an Eagles fan, the biggest rivalry in Philadelphia sports has been and always will be the Cowboys. No matter how bad the Cowboys are, they'll have the most eyes. And it's no offense to the Commanders. Nationally, Eagles-Cowboys will get the most eyes, and that's why they did it.
And I'm sure you've heard this point made, Cap, plenty of places. They basically guaranteed us an actual Jalen Hurts first Dak Prescott game, which we don't get a lot somehow, despite that rivalry. We're going to ask a couple of more questions to Adam Kaplan after this quick break right here on SportsGrid.
Did you know sportsbooks tend to draw up tighter bet lines for events that get even more bettors, like championship games or major matchups? My tip? Try betting on less popular sports. You might have a better shot at beating those odds. Now, go get lucky. See you in Las Vegas. Let's get lucky.
The Chiefs Chargers in Brazil on Friday on YouTube. They're going to give everyone that game for free. They're so generous because the rest of the season they're going to fleece you for all your money.
That's one, Scott. That division, to me, based on what's happened to the Chiefs the last couple seasons, that division, the AFC West, could be up for grabs here. I know Chiefs fans think I'm probably out of my mind.
Pharrell, coast to coast, only on SportsGrid.
I actually like the fact that they went 7 games against a quality opponent here and still had to face adversity even in a game number 7. How are we setting up this next series where they rested Minnesota Timberwolves team taking on OKC fresh from the fight here?
They had an extremely, maybe it's just too strong a statement to say, easier pathway than people thought, particularly because of their size.
The early line, only on SportsGrid. The game is on. The stakes are high, but the action isn't just on the field.
He's rearranging that ring. Get it inside!
SportsGrid's in-game live. Your ultimate second screen experience.
A little flyer, couple of
15.5-point live line.
Every prop, every play, every day.
Anything can happen. It's complete chaos.
It's smarter to be on SportsGrid.
We're with you right here. We're live on SportsGrid. Appreciate again everybody that helped make our schedule special possible. As we are 100 days away from the NFL season beginning, we're going to talk to Adam Kaufman in just a little bit. I believe Adam will be a part of tonight's coverage on In Game Live, where they will be focused on game number 4 of Knicks Pacers. They'll also, of course, follow a really important game on the ice tonight between Edmonton and Dallas. You did see Carolina avoid the the sweep by upsetting Florida on the road. The series goes back now to Carolina. I think they are booked as
money line favorites, albeit, no, they're not. Florida minus 126. Just like a numbers game tells you Colorado, watching the series tells you Florida. That's going to be a fun one. Can you get the exact score? Panthers 4-2. That's interesting, plus 230. Not the best price you've ever seen, though. We'll see how it plays out. Tonight's game, though, again, between Edmonton and Dallas, if you do get the Oilers win, they're on their home ice, we'll be really close to getting a rematch, which is cool. You know, it's not something you see a ton in the NHL playoffs, and you'll see it in a way this year where it'll kind of be stunning. Like, neither were really the favorites. It felt like entering into the conference, maybe you could say Florida, but really awesome stuff here, just the way the NHL has played off. It's another spot for me. I talked about it throughout the first few games of the Panther series, but if you are looking for, you know, a parlay leg to toss in here, I think this game has goals. First game 6-3, second game 3-0, then you get a 6-1. I think you're getting from Dallas tonight 2 or 3. Oilers should be the same boat. Again, I don't mind playing with some of these these hockey totals over a lower number, tacking something on if you like it late night. You know, I'm trying to even figure out, like, what is Brunson for 25 and over 4.5 Oilers Stars? Something along those lines I don't think would be a bad look. Before we get back to the NBA, just quickly, baseball updates. Ohtani, first player to 20 home runs. As he hits a 2-run shot, it is 4-0 Dodgers. Still waiting on the Guardians to put 2 on the board. They got a leadoff single from Jose Ramirez, which is nice to see. Ohtani, where is that MVP price now, National League-wise? Minus 190. I think all the home runs paired with him throwing again is starting to really shoot that number up. I still want to see what the pitching looks like, though. Because if the pitching is really cautious, I think the race stays open. And I think whether it's PCA or Tatis, I think, you know, I don't know if we're still doing the Corbin Carroll thing, but I think those guys are still going to be in the race. And it's reflected, right? Judges minus 8,000. So the Ohtani number at minus 190, it's hard to be like, whoa, that's too far. You can't really make that argument. I'm interested to see what it looks like whenever he does eventually take the mound. Still 3-0 for St. Louis. 2-0 Detroit. They did tack another on with a Perez home run off of Logan Webb. Philly scores first against Spencer Strider. Kepler doubled, scored Alec Boehm. I believe he walked in order to get on. He did. 2-0 Minnesota, so they put up a run in each of the first 2 innings there. Clemens with the home run. White Sox did score first against the Metsies, so Vargas goes and puts up a 2-run shot. Mets, I assume, stick as moneyline favorites in that game, but the lines are locked, so we'll see what it looks like at the end of that first inning. Like I said, we're going to talk to Adam Kaufman next, and I'm curious to get some of his thoughts on not just tonight's game, but also the Western Conference Finals. And talking with Adam a little bit last week, as I try and remember my days, I think he's going to agree. Anthony Edwards, superstar, right, has flatly been nowhere near good enough in this series. And not in that, Minnesota, I didn't think they were going to win this series. I thought Ant would have a good series. I thought that Ant had a chance to average 30 a game in this series. He got off to that super slow start in game number 1, but then 32-38. It's like, okay, game 1's game 1. Yesterday's performance with 16, followed by the post-game press conference as, I can't say I struggle. I just kept making the right play all game. Man, you go 1 of 7. It's not like you finish the game with 10 dimes, and it's not like we're going to say, the guys around him didn't step up because there were 2 20-point scorers off the bench from Minnesota. They trailed 3-1. SGA's not only been better, Jalen Williams has been better than Ant so far. We'll talk more about it all next right here on SportsGrid.
Did you know sportsbooks tend to draw up tighter bet lines for events that get even more bettors, like championship games or major matchups? My tip, try betting on less popular sports. You might have a better shot at beating those odds. Now, go get lucky. See you in Las Vegas. Let's get lucky.
The Chiefs Chargers in Brazil on Friday on YouTube. They're going to give everyone that game for free. They're so generous because the rest of the season they're going to fleece you for all your money.
That's one, Scott. That division to me, based on what's happened to the Chiefs the last couple seasons, that division, the AFC West, could be up for grabs here. I know Chiefs fans think I'm probably out of my mind.
Pharrell, coast to coast, only on SportsGrid.
I actually like the fact that they went 7 games against a quality opponent here and still had to face adversity even in a game number 7. How are we setting up this next series where they rested Minnesota Timberwolves team taking on OKC fresh from the fight here?
They had an extremely, maybe it's just too strong a statement to say, easier pathway than people thought, particularly because of their size.
The early line, only on SportsGrid. The game is on. The stakes are high, but the action isn't just on the field.
He's rearranging that roof. Get it inside!
SportsGrid's in-game live. Your ultimate second screen experience.
A little flyer, couple of thoughts.
18.5-point live line.
Every prop, every play, every day.
Anything can happen. It's complete chaos.
It's smarter to be on SportsGrid.
All right, back to the right here on SportsGrid. White Sox, that 2-0 lead. Fun while it lasted. Alonso made it 2-2. And then the reason why JY couldn't make it tonight, he's playing for the Mets here, 4-2, as Jared Young hits another 2-run shot. Tough scene. Guardians. Boom. Perfect. All right, so they got 3. We got a couple of things. Slow down, Detroit Tigers. Way too much scoring in that game for my liking. We're tracking it all. We're following it all. Liberty are going to score 600 points against this Valkyries team tonight. We're keeping tabs on the whole deal. We've got Adam Kaufman checking in, though, here, who will, of course, be on In-Game Live tonight. Adam, always good to talk to you. I want to start with Western Conference Finals. What was your takeaway as OKC wins a close one last night, but take a 3-1 series lead against Minnesota?
No, first of all, I thought we were going to start with my Liberty bet at -200 to lead at the end of every quarter. They're going wire to wire tonight, baby. I don't think there's going to be any fight from the Valkyrie in this one. First quarter, solid indication. Yeah, as far as last night, look, this was your classic, at least for me, this was your classic should have bet more spot. And anytime we hit a bet, we're happy we hit the bet. It beats the alternative, right? But there are some bets every once in a while that you're just kicking yourself that you didn't put like a mortgage payment on it. And for me last night, that was the response out of OKC. I recognize Kev, the Thunder, because of a little late collapse, if we want to call it that, didn't cover the number. Of course, if you put them in a money line parlay or just laid the juice and paid the money line, then fine, you won your bet. But what I was really passionate about in that game, aside from SGA going over on his points, which he did effortlessly, was first quarter money line, first half money line for the Thunder. It's one thing to lose a game to the Timberwolves, and I had OKC in 5 gentlemen sweep coming into the series. That part did not surprise me. To get embarrassed, which I don't even think is strong enough a word for what happened in Game 3, for that to happen the way it did in OKC's first road game after holding serve at home in the first 2, covering the number each of those first 2 times, and then to be done. I mean, wave the white flag by the middle of the 3rd, early 4th. The game was, in hand for the Timberwolves, honestly, by the end of the 1st, if not early in the 2nd quarter. I felt so strongly that OKC was going to come out with a statement performance in the early goings of that game. So again, first quarter money line, first half money line. The only thing that I suppose surprised me is that they didn't hold it all the way through.
Yeah, it certainly frustrated me in a way, Adam. The only reason I I thought I would be on team, how did I not bet more, OKC -3, and instead, thank goodness. Thank goodness. As the foul up 3 thing, it has literally already cost them a game in this playoffs. I don't mind fouling up 3. It's just they are terrible at it. They constantly seem to do it wrong. They do it with too much time left. They foul guys that don't even make sense. But clearly Dagnall's doing a little double down to try and justify, I think, a little bit what happened in the opening of that series against Denver. Let me ask you this on Oklahoma City, because then we're going to get to Knicks Pacers. Are you at a point right now where, regardless of who comes out of the East, you're going to expect the Thunder to win this title in 6 or fewer games?
Talk to me 2-3 weeks ago. I've been saying that since OKC was going against Denver, that the winner out of that series in the second round was going to be the one that won the NBA championship. So, yeah, I mean, there's no part of me that believes any of the other 3 teams that are still in this dance have a chance to win the championship, short of obviously injury or something like that for the Thunder. SGA goes down, Jalen Williams goes down. It's a different narrative. But right now, the way this team is going, and not just at the moment, but the way it's gone throughout the entire year, let's not forget, already, including the regular season, this team is up over 70 wins. It's a freight train. It's a powerhouse. People wanted to give them the, they're too young thing throughout the year. I think, obviously they've got the same core as they had last year. And, you add players like a Hartenstein, who was so good for the Knicks down the stretch last year. Knicks fans would love to have him right now, obviously. What he is able to add and supplement Holmgren, and obviously that two-headed monster of the MVP and the other, one J-Dub, not the other one that comes off the bench. This team is just, it's so strong. It's so deep. Hell, Alex Caruso, Isaiah Joe's hitting big shots. Like, this team, it's a wrecking ball. I don't know how you stop them. Give the Timberwolves credit for taking a game, and I think it ends there. I think OKC, whether or not it covers the number, does win this game 5 and put it away. And as much as I love the Pacers, and I was on Indiana plus money going into that series, I'm not shocked by what we've seen so far, and I think they go up 3-1, just to tip my hand a little bit in this game here tonight at home. I think as good as they are and as deep as they are, and the way Halliburton's going, all of it, they are still inferior to the Thunder, and the odds, and maybe they're already out, like the hypothetical NBA finals and what those exactas look like. I'm sure they're already available to people. The odds, the overwhelming favorite in every situation is and should be the Thunder. They're too good. They are way too good. The only team that I would have given a chance and maybe even picked against the Thunder in the East would have been a healthy Boston Celtics team that, 1, didn't lose Jason Tatum, and 2, didn't crap its pants before that with all those multiple blown leads against the Knicks.
Yeah, it's interesting. I think for OKC, the series against Denver told me they were beatable, this group. Look, whoever got out of Minnesota, LA, to me was going to be in the conference finals, whether it was Houston or Golden State. Minnesota got it done. Even if the Lakers wouldn't have beat the Thunder, I think they would have had a chance in the way Denver had a chance. I think if it was Boston or Cleveland coming out of the Eastern Conference, I think either one of them would have absolutely had a chance. Again, if healthy. The Cavs had more total injuries than Boston ultimately did, even if Boston, again, ended up losing Tatum. I think for OKC, when you look at what's left, it's very difficult to imagine any of these teams beating them, because there's a lack of success this year, and there's also just, you can't go to the pedigree card. In terms of, Boston's won a championship, right? LeBron, Luka, or, Jokic, they've won a championship. That to me, I know Cleveland doesn't have that pedigree, but the Cavs at least had the same regular season success, or relatively, that OKC did. And all in all, that's why kind of when I just look around at them, not trying to take away from the Thunder, but I think a big part of the confidence, right? And you mentioned it through Boston, is it's very hard to imagine the teams that are left actually knocking off this Thunder group.
I think it's interesting that I think we're going to see OKC and Indiana face off in the NBA Finals, because these two teams, and I've been making this comparison for several weeks, if not months at this point, is they both come into this postseason with, the disappointing futility in the playoffs last year, the way they went down. You know, the Thunder go down prematurely. People pointed to the inexperience, you know, from the coach on down, like whether it was Daignault or all the best players, it was, they're too young. They're not quite ready yet. And, you know, the Pacers on the other side sort of, you know, Cavs like to some degree, or Celtics or whoever. I mean, not as strong a team, obviously, although one of the better teams in the NBA going back to January. This Pacers team, you know, it was swept out of the postseason last year in the conference finals by Boston. But let's not forget, each of those 4 games was insanely competitive, came down to the wire, single digit. Like, any of them were winnable for the Pacers, and they didn't have Halliburton. They were banged up, and they still fought. So I really thought, in this postseason, those two teams, if they stayed healthy, which to date they have, they were capable of making runs, because there's an element of learned experience from going out the way they did only a year ago and taking that into this postseason and approaching it a little differently, knowing what to expect now. And so I think it's going to be a good series if we get there. I really do. Indiana's not going to win it, but 6 games would not surprise me.
Yeah, I would. I don't think either team, but certainly the Pacers will not be swept if that is the finals. Let's talk about Pacers-Knicks. We'll talk about it with Adam after a quick break. We're live on SportsGrid right here. It's Game Time Decision.
Did you know sportsbooks tend to draw up tighter bet lines for events that get even more bettors, like championship games or major matchups? My tip? Try betting on less popular sports. You might have a better shot at beating those odds. Now, go get lucky. See you in Las Vegas. Let's get lucky.
Chiefs Chargers in Brazil on Friday on YouTube. They're going to give everyone that game for free. They're so generous, because the rest of the season they're going to fleece you for all your money.
That's one, Scott. That division, to me, based on what's happened to the Chiefs the last couple seasons, that division, the AFC West, could be up for grabs here. I know Chiefs fans think I'm probably out of my mind.
Pharrell, coast to coast, only on SportsGrid.
I actually like the fact that they went 7 games against a quality opponent here and still had to face adversity even in a game number 7. How are we setting up this next series where they rested Minnesota Timberwolves team taking on OKC fresh from the fight here?
They had an extremely, maybe it's just too strong a statement to say, easier pathway than people thought, particularly because of their size.
The early line, only on SportsGrid. The game is on. The stakes are high, but the action isn't just on the field.
He's rearranging that roof. Get it inside!
SportsGrid's in-game live. Your ultimate second screen experience.
A little flyer, couple of
18.5 point live line.
Every prop, every play, every day.
Anything can happen. It's complete chaos.
It's smarter to be on SportsGrid.
Orioles, don't be scared now. Bases are juiced. Nobody's out. Adam, are you on this baseball card right now at all?
So I am, but a lot of what I've got is a little bit later on. I do have the Twins money line as a straight, but then I've got I've been messing around with some favorites, parlays, teams that I like. I actually did. I stayed away from the Mets today. I didn't really like the situation against the White Sox, a team that I flirted with using the Rangers. I didn't, but I've got some Cubs money line parlays, like with the Diamondbacks. I've got a little bit of the Yankees. I've got, I'm trying to remember who else at this point in time. But yeah, a little bit of what we have in front of us later, just sort of attacking some of those terrible teams, like obviously the Rockies at every opportunity.
They are a special kind of terrible. Let's get to the big one, though, the main event. The Pacers and the Knicks here. Pacers numbers climbing a little bit. Totals dropped. We've seen this in a few series where series gets longer, total drops, and it makes sense. I think this is a mistake here. I'm playing the Pacers team total instead of the whole thing. If the Knicks figure out their offense, good for them. I think the Pacers can score 125 of them with their eyes closed, potentially in a spot like this. I'm on the Pacers team total. What do you make of game number 4 here? You mentioned you like Indiana.
Well, our guy Cam Stewart would say we're reading each other's mail. I'm right there with you. I don't like the full game total as much as I like the Pacers team total over, and there are a couple of reasons for that. One, as you just said, I like the Pacers to win that game. Now, yesterday, I was over the top emphatically cocky about feeling the Thunder would win the game. I'm not quite there with the Pacers. Like, if the Knicks win this game and, 2 road wins for each team and it's all of a sudden a best of 3 going back to New York, I'm not going to be shocked. And how could you be with the way the series has played out and the big comebacks and all of that we've seen from both teams? That being said, asking me where I lean toward the Pacers. I think Indiana wins, and I just think there is a correlation there. If you believe the Pacers are going to win, then you believe they're going to put up points. And we've already seen them put up 138 with the overtime game in game 1, 114 in that second game against New York. So both of those that cleared the team total over. I think the game total over went over in second game as well, or it was very close if it missed. And then, they were held down a little bit in that 106-100 loss in game 3. But again, the correlation with the way the Pacers play, up-tempo, fast-paced, pun intended, but seriously, top 5, top 3 team in the NBA in the regular season versus the slower, more methodical game that the Knicks prefer to play offensively, then if you think the Knicks are going to win, you think it's going to be a lower scoring game. If you think the Pacers are going to win, you think it's going to be a higher scoring game. So me believing in Indiana means I believe in them clearing the team total.
Yeah, I see it again the same way. The Pacers it's a big time bounce back spot. It's why I think Halliburton gets back to his double-digit assists in this spot here. And I think the question, Adam, for the Knicks, if you and I are correct, and that this is a Pacers 3-1 lead, and then maybe the series ends in 5 or 6 games, the question then is, what is their big takeaway from this season? I don't think you can call it a disappointment, but it's hard to wave the flag that this was a monstrous success just because they beat Boston. You, for the second year in a row, were eliminated by the Pacers, who you had home court advantage against and were favored to beat. And the Knicks year over year made huge moves that were supposed to raise their ceiling. Cat made All-NBA. Forget what they gave up for Bridges. He's a good basketball player. I'm fascinated if this ends up, again, Pacers in 5 or 6, which is now what I would be expecting, and I know you've been expecting, what that Knicks offseason looks like.
It's interesting, and I'm not sure. Obviously, I'd have to look at their roster in terms of who's a free agent, what's the salary cap situation, all of that stuff. But I do think sort of more macro level, to respond to your first point, I think that you have no choice but to view it to some degree as a disappointment. I mean, they were out there, this is not the Knicks, this is the city of New York, obviously, but they're naming streets after every one of these guys on the roster just for advancing to the conference finals, just for getting halfway to a championship. 8 of 16 wins, 8. And all of a sudden you're basically throwing a parade in Manhattan. It's absurd. So I don't know. That's not the Knicks' fault, obviously, as an organization. That's embarrassment on the part of the city, celebrating a team that just, it shows the futility and how long it's been since they've truly done anything or gone anywhere. And it's sad, for a team that I think has not the history so much, but the reputation that it has, obviously, surrounding, and maybe more of that is about MSG than it even is about the Knicks as a franchise and people just longing for the days of Willis Reed or something like that. But, this clearly they need to make changes. Now, I didn't like the changes that they made this go around. I didn't think the Cat was this big win for them, as opposed to, like DiVincenzo. I know they wanted to get away from Randall because it wasn't working. And, but I just don't think Towns has really worked all that much better. He's been a liability defensively. He puts up more gaudy numbers offensively, obviously, but wouldn't you like to have DiVincenzo off your bench? Wouldn't you, as much as I love McBride, wouldn't you like to have DiVincenzo? Wouldn't you like to have Hartenstein, who I mentioned before? Like this is still a flawed roster, and people, get upset with me when I say this because, as a Boston backdrop behind me, right? Like it comes off as sour grapes as a Celtics fan, but this Knicks, if you, as I know you have, and I'm sure many of the viewers and listeners have, if you watch the Knicks on a game-by-game basis throughout this postseason, how can you possibly have any takeaway other than, this isn't a very good team? Like, yeah, they are where they are, but it's not, this isn't a championship caliber team. Even sitting, 3 wins away from getting to that stage, they're just not there organizationally. They are not even remotely on the same tier as Oklahoma City on the other side. And so, yeah, there are definitely some offseason moves that need to be made. But the thing is, I mean, like you what they give, 4 or 5 first-round picks to bring in Bridges? They only have so many assets to work with.
Yeah, I think for the Knicks, ultimately, 3 of their most 5 recent victories have required 20-point comebacks. That's not sustainable. It doesn't show a pedigree. I don't think this is wrong. I think a lot of the Boston people are really angry about losing to this team, and it's elevated the criticism of the group, and that's fine. I understand why the people of Boston are disgusted watching them throw parades after every single Knicks win in the street. I get that. I more than get it. Adam Kaufman, great stuff as always. He's on In-Game Live.
Stuff. My God.
Did you know sportsbooks tend to draw up tighter bet lines for events that get even more bettors, like championship games or major matchups? My tip? Try betting on less popular sports. You might have a better shot at beating those odds. Now, go get lucky. See you in Las Vegas. Let's get lucky.
Chiefs Chargers in Brazil on Friday on YouTube. They're going to give everyone that game for free. They're so generous because the rest of the season they're going to fleece you for all your money.
That's one, Scott. That division to me, based on what's happened to the Chiefs the last couple seasons, that division, the AFC West, could be up for grabs here. I know Chiefs fans think I'm probably out of my mind.
Pharrell, coast to coast, only on SportsGrid.
I actually like the fact that they went 7 games against a quality opponent here and still had to face adversity even in a game number 7. How are we setting up this next series with a rested Minnesota Timberwolves team taking on OKC fresh from the fight here?
They had an extremely, maybe it's just too strong a statement to say, easier pathway than people thought, particularly because of their size.
The early line, only on SportsGrid. The game is on. The stakes are high, but the action isn't just on the field.
He's rearranging that roof. Get it inside!
SportsGrid's In-Game Live, your ultimate second screen experience.
A little flyer, couple of
15.5 point live line.
Every prop, every play, every day.
Anything can happen. It's complete chaos.
It's smarter to be on SportsGrid.
Game time decisions with you here on this Tuesday night. And I, again, will just say, as the most unbiased man in the history of sports media, I think Adam's delivering great breakdowns consistently across the NBA. I think this is a good thing, by the way. I think all Celtics fans and Pistons fans want the Knicks to lose. I think Bucks fans and Cavs fans probably want the Pacers to lose, because both teams are super irritating. I think you make your picks for completely valid reasons. I think Adam's breakdowns are fantastic, 100%. So I want to make that very, very clear. But I think anybody would acknowledge that
again, Celtics fans have watched this series not thinking to themselves, we were going to lose to Indiana anyway. It's like, how did we lose to the Knicks? And we would have been favored to beat the Pacers, especially, they would have been favored to beat the Pacers, I actually think, even without Tatum. Now, I'm not saying they would have beat them without Tatum, but they would have been favored to do so with home court advantage in the series. It leads us to game number 4 tonight, where I think the Pacers get the job done, just like Adam does, for all the same reasons. I think the Pacers offensively are much better. And the Knicks are in a situation now where people who know that team are like, we need to stagger our stars. That's not a great place to be in. It, again, means you can't go to your best guys with consistency. It means Tibbs needs to push all the right buttons. That's a pass for me. And I'm in a situation right now where I think the Pacers are at 120 tonight. So can the Knicks get to that level? I don't really trust it. Because the Cat performances are now touch and go. How much he gets the basketball is completely up in the air based on how much Brunson's doing whatever he wants. The Knicks did get some good efforts in that game just the other day, right? 4 made threes from OG Anunoby was strong. Ultimately, really positive minutes from a lot of the bench guys. Where the Pacers look around, who on the Pacers is kind of holding up their head like, I can't play that well again? No one. Nobody on that team. I mean, I know Obi Toppin was a plus 19, but okay, he won't be maybe he'll be a plus 19 again. For me, I think the Pacers get the job done. I'm on their team total over. I did do a same-game parlay that really just amounts to Tyrese Halliburton getting 10 assists. It's 10 points for Tyrese, 10 assists for Tyrese, and then 20 points for Jalen Brunson. Feel really good about 2 of those 3 legs. It's really, you throw your profit boost on there. It's about It's about getting the best possible number on Halliburton, bringing in that double-double, which I think he will because of what I think the offense looks like tonight for Indiana. Just other quick things. Edmonton, Dallas, lean over, lean stars. I think you play alt overs. It works. Best bet in the Major League Baseball board. Give me the over. Cubs, Rockies, fading the wind. I understand it's what everybody expects to be the downfall. I see it differently. Best bet for Yarnell is over the Hunter Brown strikeouts. For Kofsky is over Josh Hart rebounds plus assists. AJ's best bet's already off and running with KC and Cincinnati. Speaking of the Major League Baseball board and some money lines, Texas and Toronto. Give me the Rangers money line with Nathan Eovaldi going in that game. Rangers have lost 2 straight Nathan Eovaldi starts. He's been one of the 5 or 6 best pitchers in the American League so far this season. I think he pitches a really good game. I think the Rangers can hit Francis, and I think they get the job done. And I did play a little plus money on the Angels. We had a great moment with the White Sox. We'll always remember 2-0 at the top of the first. And then, Pete Alonso 2-run homer, Jared Young 2-run homer, and now it's 4-2. And then they went strike him out, throw him out. Like, the White Sox are really a minor league team. When's the White Sox-Rockies series? When is the White Sox? We get that, right? Hold on, here we go. At Coors, July 4th. I mean, that's how you celebrate July 4th. No, that's how you celebrate July 4th. I love that series. That series of the weekend. I can't tell if every one of those games will have 20 runs or 2 runs. I'll call Lisi. I'll figure it out. That'll be the Lisi series of the weekend. Also, on the W, Liberty Valkyries. That live total dropped a little bit due to a really slow close to the half. Don't be scared of that live over. That game still is going to have plenty of scoring in it, I do believe. I appreciate you hanging out with us here on Game Time Decisions. We'll be back in the saddle on Thursday. It's In-Game Live next.